Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're gonna test out which are the fastest cars on the F1 26 DLC and which cars are the slowest around Barcelona. So let's head into it. We are gonna start off with what this says the fastest. I'm not sure if the McLaren is the fastest. I would think the Merc will be faster, but you never know. But we're gonna start off with the Constructor World Champions McLaren. Let's see what we can do. Alright, now I'm gonna do 3 flying laps with each car. That way we get a little bit of a better sense on what will actually be the fast car rather than just getting a lucky lap in. I will only be using the hot lap ERS mode just to be more consistent. This is a great way to practice as well for the people who don't know. You can do mid-session save just before you start your flying lap, and that way you can just put in laps in like the same conditions in a row without it being time trial, you know. So hot lap only ERS mode just to keep it more consistent, because if you run out of ERS 100 meters or 200 meters too early before the line, then you lose 2/10, right? So that way we can see which car recharges the most battery as well, which car will have the most battery left at the end of the lap. So that will be interesting to see as well. But let's head into it. First lap with the McLaren. We haven't done a manual out lap, so we're probably going to be a little bit down pace anyway. Alright, first lap done. We're going to have 4% battery left with a 113.910. We are P7, but obviously, probably if you use manual ERS, you're gonna gain like another second. I've made this setup real quick as well, so there's probably a half a second in there, and I've driven quite a bit of a Aston course over the past few days, so there's probably another half a second there. 113.910 is the first lap. Let's see if we can improve on that. Alright, that was no ideal. Let's redo that. Alright, this is our actual second lap. Other one didn't count. Second lap done, and it's a 113.798. Alright, final lap in the McLaren. Let's see. Good turn one. Turn 4 was not too good. One 13.687. 113.687. I think we finished the lap with 4 or 5% battery more or less every time. That is quite important to know, because obviously if you finish with more battery, then that means you basically would gain more time if you would use ERS properly, but it would just be a little bit too inconsistent for now. It's already hard enough doing it consistent when you're like grinding for a league race, for example. So yeah, let's take the Merc next. You would think the Merc's gonna be faster, but you never know, of course. I think last time I pressed on outlap with 10 minutes to go, so let's do the same again for consistency. Alright, here we go. First lap in the Merc, 113.68 we did in the McLaren. Across the line we go, and it's a 113.901. 2.2 tenths, but I think it could be down to driving as well. Alright, that's a 0.781 on our second attempt. We're still a tenth away from the McLaren. So maybe the McLaren is the fastest one. It is going to be close for sure. I think the McLaren lap wasn't too bad at all. Well, that was a good lap. It's going to be half a ton faster than the McLaren. 600s actually. So the Mercedes P1 at the moment. Red Bull next. Alright. The Red Bull. Lap number 1. 113.62. I think we need to beat. That was not an ideal turn 1. Across the line we go, a 114.1, that's half a second off so far. I think we finished with the least amount of ERS as well. So Red Bull I think is quite a bit slower. Obviously it wasn't a great lap, not a perfect lap, but I'd say we improved 2.5 tenths, we're still going to be quite a bit of a pace. Yeah, I can already feel there on the entry there. Kind of a four-wheel slide, just not enough grip. Only 1 ton up at the moment, and that was basically the mistake in turn 1. Turn 7 wasn't great as well. We're talking about a few hundreds. Now, apart from turn 7, 8, this was a really good lap. 113.913. So basically, so far, around 3/10 of the pace. We've got one more lap. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to improve, to be honest. We're going to have to hook it up nicely if we want to. Really good turn 1, 2, 3. This is a really good lap so far. Probably the best lap I've done so far, and it is a 113.816, so 2/10 of the pace. I think it's more like 2.5 tenths, but this was just a really good lap, so not too shabby. Alright, Ferrari next. Will be interesting to see. Grip seems really good on the high speed. What it feels like at least. I'm not gonna lie, just based on feeling. This feels really good at the moment. Obviously good feeling doesn't always mean performance, but the line we go. It's going to be 1:13.712 on the first lap already. I didn't check how much ERS we crossed the line with, but the McLaren was fast as well, of course. Merc was a little bit faster, and the feeling of the Merc was quite a bit better as well. So I think it's going to be close between the Ferrari and the Merc. Feeling-wise, I think this is the best car. Right, so the Ferrari does run out of battery at the end. This is the first car that runs out of battery. So battery-wise, so far, this might be the worst car. But as you can see, we've done a 1:13.600 on the second lap. So we're already faster than the Merc and the McLaren. So this might be the fast car. It might be the nicest to drive. Battery-wise, it seems to be a little bit worse than the other cars though. So in that sense, if you use proper battery with the lift and coast, the overtake button, then the Ferrari might start lacking a little bit. You might have to do more lift and coast. But car performance-wise, this feels the best at the moment. Let's see what we can do on this final lap. Oh, little Spinalla. And there was a little bit more time in the final corner as well. The line was not optimal through there. So if I hooked it up, probably a 0.55, 0.56. But of course it doesn't count. So battery-wise, the worst car yet. But purely car performance-wise, the Ferrari is the best. 1:13.600. Now we start heading a little bit more towards the midfield teams. Williams up next. A reason I've done this in a GP mode, short qualifying session rather than time trial, is the ERS, of course. In time trial, you won't really see the power unit performance as well. Also, the setups in time trial are absolutely horseshit. Now, obviously, I don't have great setups myself yet, but I've made some small changes, so at least it's a little bit more drivable. Not the extreme understeer from time trial. So yeah. Let's see what we can do in the Williams. Will be interesting to see. It is the Merc power unit, of course. So ERS-wise, it should be the same compared to the Merc. And the McLaren. The McLaren and the Merc looked quite similar when it came down to ERS. Let's see if it's the same again for the Williams. Straight away feel that the balance is worse, the grip is worse than with the Ferrari. I think it's going to be around half a second of the pace. Here we go, across the line, it's a 1:14.001. That is faster than we did the first lap with the Red Bull. The Williams might be faster than the Red Bull here. With the Red Bull, we did a 1:13.816, so we only need to improve 0.2 in order to get that. Obviously, every car has a slightly different balance, so that's why I keep improving throughout those 3 laps. Oh, we're already nearly 0.2 up. A little bit of a moment through there. 0.2 up, and that is 0.003 of a second faster than the Red Bull already, and we still got a lap to go. To be honest, that did feel like quite a good lap. Balance is a little bit more unnecessary, I feel like, with the Williams. Good exit. I think we're actually going to dive into the 0.7s here. $113.786. We did run out of battery as well by the end, I think so. I wasn't really focused on it. I think just after the line. The Ferrari was just before the line. Interesting. Thus far, the Red Bull is the slowest car. And I think the best lap I did was with the Red Bull as well. Toro Rosso up next, or AlphaTauri, or V-Carb, or Racing Bulls. I don't know what it's called. It's changed so much. Minardi. All right, the Minardi up next. Lacking some high-speed downforce there. And never mind, we're lacking downforce everywhere. Alright, we run out of battery just before the line, a 114.204. I think this is gonna be the slowest car so far. 114.100. Alright, one lap left. I'm not sure, actually, if we're going to be able to do a 113. It wasn't a bad lap. It didn't feel like a bad lap. Good exit. One 14.088. Slowest so far. What is up next? I think the Aston might be up next. Will it vibrate, chat? Will it cause nerve damage? Oh, the grip is not ideal. I think we'll be lucky if we do a 114.4? 14.5? Holy! A 114.867. Alright, that's no ideal. Last corner, obviously, we lost around 2/10. There's just no grip. Alright, across the line we go. That's a 114.580. Want to check where we run out of battery. Yeah, this is the earliest we've run out of battery so far. Well before the line. But other than that, the engine power doesn't feel too bad. Obviously, I'm not noting down the top speeds. Top speeds are a lot dictated by drag, of course, as well. But let's see if we can do a 1:14.4 on this final lap. There's a lot of understeer with this car. It just costs you time in these long corners. It won't be a 14.4. Only 300 up. We run out of battery a little bit later, and that instantly gained us around 300, so 1:14.553. And obviously, that is the slowest so far by almost half a second. I think it's going to be a battle between the Aston and the Cadillac. Which car will be the slowest? We got the Haas up next. I think the Haas did quite well early on in the season, right? In real F1. Monaco, they didn't do too well. Damn, the Haas got a lot of front end. This feels really good in turn 1, 2. Good traction out of there as well. Honestly, this might just feel like that because I just drove the Aston. $1:14.352. Okay, it probably just felt like that because of the Aston. Last corner was not great. Bottomed out, but maybe it's a battle with the V-Carb. Maybe. Or the Racing Bulls, or the Minardi, or whatever. Ah, bad last corner again. If you don't hit that curb on the inside, it's 1/10 gone. We got one more chance at that. Yeah, the car feels a lot better than the lap time suggests. Which is a shame. All of 10 up, let's not mess up the final corner. We need to hit that inside curb. And it's a 1:14.272. Second slowest so far, but honestly, it didn't feel bad. The balance. Obviously, could just be down to the fact we just drove the Aston. So, which one is next? The Alpine? It's the Audi. Audi up next. Then it's the Alpine. Then it's the Cadillac. I think the Audi has some weird gear ratios compared to the other cars. That will be interesting. That's the same in the game. Here we go now. First lap in the Audi. Ooh. 114.526. Slower than the Haas probably, and only slightly faster than the Aston. Oh, that was actually a slower lap. It's a 200s green, and I didn't improve on it. That is not ideal. See if you can dive into the point fours. Looks like we're gonna dive into the point fours. We don't. The Delta scammed us again. 114.501. Only slightly faster than the Aston. That is crazy. Braking performance seems insane on the Alpine. It stopped so fast. Traction seems bad though on the Alpine. .114.191. Not too bad, actually. Good contender against the Racing Bulls. No way, we were 700s up. What I said, the traction on this car is not great. Obviously it has the Merc power unit. And the rage just constantly wants to step out when you get on power. This car might have the worst balance so far. The hardest car to drive. I don't know what happened there. Thus far, this is definitely the hardest car to drive. Balance-wise, not great. Performance clearly is not too bad. So, if you get a lap together, honestly, I think you're not far away from the Red Bull. I think a 113 is definitely on here. If we get the lap together. Bit of a moment again there. again at random understeers for the final corner, costing us like half a tenth. 114.064. Pace is not too bad at all in this car. It's just the balance being a bit mid. Actually, the Alpine was faster on the lap by 200s compared to the Racing Bulls. Right, now the final car, the Cadillac. I'm very interested to see where this stands. Even though I think it is quite obvious, it's not the... Right, maybe it's the slowest car in real life, but it's between the Aston and the Cadillac, right? I would say at this moment in time, after watching the last two Grand Prix, that the Cadillac is probably a little bit faster than the Aston, but it's a little bit hard to say. I guess we see a real test in Barcelona. Here we go then. The first lap in the Cadillac. On 14.642 in the first lap. Only 900ths away from the Aston. Well, the second lap was definitely not an improvement. We can already cut this off because it's going to be 800ths down. So if you don't improve on this last lap, the Cadillac is officially the slowest car. Half up. It's not even a 114.5, 114.623. 700 slower than the Aston Martin and the slowest car. Yeah, that means the Aston is not the slowest. That means Ferrari fastest, Merc second, McLaren in third, Williams in fourth. I think the Williams needs a little bit of a nerve. Red Bull fifth, Alpine in sixth, Racing Bull seventh, Haas P8, Audi P9, Aston P10 and Cadillac in P11 with a 114.623. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe and see you guys next time. Ciao.